Listen closely to 4 words captured on secret audio recording that will destroy 2 careers and potentially trigger the 3rd presidential impeachment in American history. Delete everything. On December 20th, 2025, at a private Mar-a-Lago gathering, FBI Director Kash Patel was secretly recorded admitting President Trump personally ordered him to destroy Epstein investigation materials containing 847 victim statements, 2,340 videos showing current government officials at Epstein properties, and 847 documents that could expose a criminal network reaching the highest levels of government. Kash Patel didn't expect the conversation to be recorded by FBI Deputy Director Marcus Chin, a 22-year Bureau veteran who believed he was witnessing criminal conspiracy. Trump didn't expect that recording would be presented as legal evidence before Congress on January 8, 2026, today forcing immediate impeachment proceedings. What did the 8-minute recording reveal about how FBI Director Kash Patel deliberately violated federal law, destroyed evidence protected by congressional subpoena making him liable for contempt of court, and admitted he knew directors go to prison for such actions, but chose loyalty to Trump over justice for 847 victims whose voices he permanently silenced? January 8, 2026, 11:34 a.m. Senate Intelligence Committee, Hart Senate Office Building. The secure hearing room, normally reserved for classified briefings, carried the electric tension of a moment that would define American history. Senator Chuck Schumer sat at the committee head position with a flash drive containing audio that would make Watergate's Nixon tape seem quaint by comparison. Every major network had been alerted that bombshell evidence would be presented today. C-SPAN cameras were positioned for what senators privately called the recording that ends 2 careers. FBI Director Kash Patel had been subpoenaed to appear, sitting at the witness table in his Navy suit, but his usual confident demeanor was visibly absent. For 3 weeks, rumors had circulated about a recording. Patel's lawyers had tried desperately to block its release, claiming executive privilege, attorney-client privilege, and national security concerns. Federal Judge Catherine Morrison had rejected every argument, ruling the recording was crucial evidence of potential criminal conspiracy that Congress had legal right to hear. The recording's existence had been leaked to media on January 5, just 3 days ago, when Deputy Director Marcus Chin resigned from the FBI and immediately hired a criminal defense attorney. Chin's resignation letter, leaked to the Washington Post, contained one devastating paragraph. "I can no longer serve under a director who admits to destroying evidence on presidential orders. I have provided documentation of criminal conduct to appropriate congressional authorities. History will judge whether I am whistleblower or traitor, but my conscience is clear." Within hours, Chin had been placed in federal protective custody after receiving death threats. Conservative media called him deep state traitor. Liberal media called him American hero. But what nobody disputed was that he possessed something explosive, audio evidence that could prove FBI Director Kash Patel had committed crimes. This committee will now hear evidence regarding systematic destruction of federal law enforcement materials. Schumer began at 11:35 a.m., his voice carrying the gravity of constitutional crisis. What you are about to hear is an audio recording made December 20th, 2025, at Mar-a-Lago Resort in Palm Beach, Florida. The recording captures FBI Director Kash Patel speaking with associates about presidential directives regarding Epstein investigation materials. Schumer held up the flash drive for cameras, then inserted it into the hearing room audio system. This recording has been authenticated by 3 independent forensic audio experts. Voice analysis confirms speaker identity. The conversation is real, recorded by Deputy Director Marcus Chin using FBI-issued recording equipment. At 11:36 a.m., the recording began playing through the hearing room speakers. 8 minutes that would change American politics forever. The audio quality was clear. Restaurant background noise, clinking glasses, multiple voices in casual conversation. Then Kash Patel's voice, unmistakable, speaking with the relaxed confidence of someone among trusted allies. Patel's voice. "Look, the president was very clear with me from day one. He pulled me aside during the transition and said, 'Kash, I don't care about legal process. I don't care about precedent. I care about loyalty. And I need you to make the Epstein problem disappear.'" The hearing room fell absolutely silent. Senators leaned forward. Every camera focused on the speakers as if they could somehow see the crime being confessed. Associate's voice. What did he mean by disappear? Patel's voice. He meant delete everything. Every file, every video, every victim statement that could come back on us. He was specific. Anything showing him at properties. Anything with names of current officials. Anything Maxwell might use for leverage. He said, "I'm not going down because some dead pedophile kept receipts." Gasps rippled through the hearing room. Kash Patel at the witness table had gone completely pale, staring at the speakers as his own recorded voice betrayed him before Congress and the world. Associate's voice. But isn't that obstruction? Couldn't you go to prison? Patel's voice. Laughing. Some FBI directors go to prison for refusing presidential orders. I'm not that stupid. You know what happens to people who say no to Trump? Ask Comey. Ask Wray. They're gone. And for what? Principle? Fuck principle. I'd rather delete some files and keep my job than preserve evidence and get fired. The casual profanity, the dismissal of principle, the explicit admission of knowing the orders were illegal, every word was more damaging than the last. Senators exchanged stunned glances. This wasn't careful bureaucratic language. This was a federal law enforcement director admitting criminal conspiracy with shocking casualness. Associate's voice. How did you actually do it? Wasn't there oversight? Patel's voice. That's the genius of it. October 14th. I went into headquarters late, like 11:30 p.m., had the whole building to myself. Used my director credentials to access the Epstein database. 847 victim statements, gone. 2,340 videos, gone. 12,847 documents, gone. Took about 3 hours to delete everything and disable the backup systems. At 11:39 a.m., Senator Mark Warner interrupted the recording. Mr. Chairman, I want to note for the record that Director Patel's description matches exactly the October 14th data deletion that Representative Mr. Van exposed in previous hearings. Director Patel testified that deletion was technical malfunction. This recording proves it was deliberate destruction ordered by the president. Schumer nodded. The recording continues. Pay attention to what Director Patel says about congressional oversight. The audio resumed with Kash Patel's voice growing more animated, more confident in his criminal confession. Patel's voice. The beautiful thing is, Congress doesn't know what they're looking for. They issue subpoenas for all Epstein materials, but how do they know what existed? I can say we've provided everything we have, and they can't prove otherwise. The only people who knew about the deleted files are people I personally fired or reassigned, and they're too scared to talk. Associate's voice. What about Maxwell? Doesn't she know what was in there? Patel's voice. That's why we moved her to that cushy minimum security camp. Keep her comfortable. Keep her quiet. Trump was clear on that too. Make sure she has no reason to cooperate with prosecutors. She gets phone privileges, visitors, decent food. In exchange, she keeps her mouth shut about who was in those videos. The Maxwell transfer. Another scandal that Schiff had exposed in previous hearings was now explicitly connected to the evidence destruction. This wasn't isolated misconduct. This was systematic criminal conspiracy to obstruct justice and protect powerful criminals. At 11:42 a.m., the recording reached its most devastating section. Associate's voice. Do you ever worry about getting caught? Patel's voice. Honestly, no. Because even if it comes out, who's going to prosecute? Trump controls DOJ. I'm executing presidential orders. Worst case, I get a pardon like everyone else in his inner circle. Best case, nobody ever proves what we deleted because the evidence is gone. Those 847 victims, they gave statements to the FBI believing they'd get justice. Too bad, their statements are in the digital trash now, and there's no way to recover them. The callousness was breathtaking. 847 victims dismissed as too bad. Their trauma, their courage in coming forward, their hope for justice, all treated as inconvenient obstacles that FBI Director Kash Patel had successfully eliminated on presidential orders. Associate's voice. What if Congress finds out? What if there's a whistleblower? Patel's voice. Then we destroy the whistleblower. That's what Trump taught me. You don't defend, you attack. Some FBI agent wants to be a hero, we investigate them. Find dirt, leak it, ruin their career. Make them an example so nobody else gets ideas. That's how you maintain control. At 11:44 a.m., Senator Ron Wyden interrupted again, his voice shaking with controlled anger. "Mr. Chairman, we just heard the FBI director admit to planning retaliation against whistleblowers. That's criminal obstruction under 18 U.S.C. 1513. This recording provides evidence of multiple federal crimes." The final section of the recording played, with Kash Patel summarizing his philosophy of loyalty over law. Patel's voice: "Look, I know what the Boy Scouts at FBI think. They think we're supposed to serve justice and follow process and protect the institution. Fuck that. I serve the president. He put me here, and I'm going to do what he needs done. If that means deleting files, moving prisoners, firing agents who ask questions, whatever it takes. Some people will call it corruption. I call it loyalty, and loyalty is the only thing that matters in this administration." The recording ended at 11:45 a.m. 8 minutes of audio that documented conspiracy, obstruction of justice, evidence destruction, witness tampering, and systematic corruption of federal law enforcement. The silence in the hearing room was profound as senators processed what they had just heard. Director Patel, Schumer began, his voice heavy with the weight of constitutional duty. "You have just heard yourself admit to crimes on a recording that will now become legal evidence in multiple criminal proceedings. Do you dispute the authenticity of this recording?" Kash Patel sat frozen, his lawyers frantically conferring beside him. After 30 seconds of silence captured by every camera, his lead attorney spoke. "My client invokes his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and declines to answer questions about this recording." The Fifth Amendment invocation, essentially pleading the right to avoid self-incrimination, was as good as an admission of guilt before Congress and the public. If the recording were fake or taken out of context, Patel would deny it. Instead, he was hiding behind constitutional protections against confessing to crimes. Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican and usually Trump defender, spoke with visible distress. "Mr. Chairman, I've defended this administration through many controversies. But if this recording is authentic and the audio forensics say it is, then we're dealing with criminal conspiracy at the highest levels. The FBI director admitting he destroyed evidence on presidential orders is grounds for immediate impeachment proceedings." The bipartisan consensus was forming in real time. This wasn't partisan theater. This was documented criminality. At 11:50 a.m., Senator Elizabeth Warren delivered the legal analysis that would guide prosecution. Director Patel's own words on this recording prove multiple federal crimes, Warren stated, referencing her notes. 18 U.S.C. 1519, destruction of evidence in federal investigation, 20 years maximum sentence. 18 U.S.C. 1512, obstruction of justice, 20 years. 18 U.S.C. 371, conspiracy to commit offense, 5 years, and 2 U.S.C. 192, contempt of Congress for violating subpoenas, 12 months plus removal from office. She looked directly at Kash Patel, who sat motionless at the witness table. "Director Patel, you admitted on tape that you destroyed 847 victim statements, 2,340 videos, and 12,847 documents pursuant to presidential orders. You admitted you knew it was illegal. You said some directors go to prison for refusing orders. I'm not that stupid. You chose to commit crimes rather than refuse illegal orders." Warren's voice rose with prosecutorial force. "You are not just liable for these crimes, Director Patel. You are guilty by your own recorded confession. And the fact that you claim you were following presidential orders doesn't protect you. It implicates the president as well." By noon today, Representative Hakeem Jeffries announced House Democrats would file articles of impeachment against Trump by end of day, charging him with obstruction of justice, conspiracy to destroy evidence, and abuse of power. The recording provided the smoking gun that previous investigations had lacked, direct evidence of Trump ordering illegal activity. The aftermath unfolded with unprecedented speed. Within 2 hours of the hearing, Attorney General Pam Bondi, facing her own potential criminal liability for covering up the evidence destruction, announced her resignation. By 3 p.m. this afternoon, 3 Senate Republicans publicly called for Trump's resignation. By evening, Kash Patel was escorted from FBI headquarters by federal marshals after DOJ filed emergency criminal charges. The recording that Marcus Chin made at Mar-a-Lago had accomplished what years of investigations, hearings, and scandals had not. It provided undeniable proof that FBI Director Kash Patel and President Trump had conspired to destroy evidence, obstruct justice, and deny justice to 847 victims. 4 words, delete everything, had finally forced accountability that neither could escape. The whistleblower, Marcus Chin, appeared before Congress the following day to explain why he made the recording. "I joined the FBI 22 years ago because I believed in justice and the rule of law," Chin testified, his voice steady despite visible emotion. "When I heard Director Patel admit he destroyed evidence on presidential orders, when I heard him laugh about 847 victims as too bad, when I heard him say 'fuck principle,' I knew I had a choice. I could stay silent and be complicit, or I could document the crime and face the consequences. I chose to be on the right side of history." Chin's testimony revealed additional details. Director Patel bragged about the deletion for weeks. He would joke in staff meetings about how the Epstein problem is solved. He treated destruction of 847 victim statements like a professional accomplishment. Legal implications extended beyond Kash Patel and Trump. Senator Whitehouse noted anyone who knew about the destruction could face charges. How many at FBI headquarters knew? How many at White House knew? This suggests broad conspiracy. By week's end, the recording had 100 million views across platforms. Delete everything became shorthand for the scandal. Analysts compared it to Nixon's smoking gun tape. The 8 minutes captured at Mar-a-Lago had exposed the truth. FBI Director Kash Patel systematically destroyed legal evidence to protect predators on direct presidential orders.